Hey there, my Stampin' friends. Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stamper. So I have my first October Make It Monday project for you, and this one is going to be my thank you kit for anybody who purchases with me this month. So we're going to be crafting with the All About Autumn DSP, which is a favorite of mine, and I'm also going to pair it with my So Sincere stamp set, which is another new favorite of mine. So it's got really great sentiments that you can kind of use all year, but I really think they're heartwarming and they're really great for projects. So this one's kind of a simple sketch to put together. I don't try to make my thank you kits too difficult. They're really supposed to be fun for you to do as a thank you for purchasing. So let me just take you through my steps of creating this one. Okay, so like I said, I'm using All About Autumn DSP. These are the two patterns. Actually, I'm using this pattern. These are the two patterns I'm using on the card, and all I've done is I've cut 3 by 3/4 inch strips. I have 3 of each patterns. Now, I have this one flipped over because if you receive my kit, you of course have the option to use the flip side, and that is the flip side you could pair with those papers. So when you get your card kits, you make them your way because they are then your cards. I'm just supplying some fun materials. Okay, so I'm using Early Espresso and Moody Mauve as my two cardstock colors. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a pattern on the front with our DSP, and we're going to alternate the patterns. Now you want to give them about 1/4 inch between the pieces. So if you want to use your grid sheet, you can see I'm going to put this one on about there, and then the next one will skip 1 grid, and then the next one, and I'm just alternating my patterns back and forth. And let's see how these are going to fit. Oh, maybe a little bit closer, so maybe about 1/8 inch. So about 1/2 of a grid. I haven't done this one in a while, so it's always good to use that grid paper, lay out your materials, see how it's all going to come together, and then you can decide on adhering it all down. Okay, so they're a little tighter than I thought, but that's okay. I haven't done this pattern in a while. So that's how they're all going to lay out. So if I turn it this way, I can almost leave them on there, and I can just put my adhesive right down on my card and then put that first one on. And then I'm just going to slide that one off, put in my adhesive, and then put down this one. Now this is a great card for when you have scraps of paper, right? Our kits come with usually 12 patterns of paper. They all usually coordinate color-wise and theme. So if you get down and you've got, 3/4 inch strips of scrap, even if they're 12 inches long, if you cut them at 3 inches, you've got 4 panels right there. And you could mix and match these as many as you wanted. Like I'm using 2 patterns today, but you could use 3 patterns, you could use 6 patterns. So you could really make some very unique cards, and you can always add sentiments to them later after they're ready for you to use, and you need a card for a birthday, or you need a card for a sympathy, or just a thinking of you card. You can just pull out one of your cards that have these variegated panels on them, add the sentiment you need at the time, and you would be ready to go. Now see how quickly those went on, right? So I just used that grid paper to help me space them, and then I just did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so now this piece is just going to get mounted to our Early Espresso. So my main card here is cut down to 8 by 5 1/4, scored at 4. So that sets inside my 1/4 inch mount for the back, my Early Espresso, which is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So that's one way to get 2 colors in your card, frame it up, and save some of that colored cardstock, right? So if you're running low on a certain color, just 1/4 it and then mount a piece on the front. Okay, so now I have another piece of the Moody Mauve. It's at 5 1/4 by 1 3/8, and as you can see, it's going to overlap the top of those panels I just put on. Now I decided I'm going to go ahead and emboss it for a little more excitement on the card, and I'm using the Leaf Fall embossing folder. Now this was in last fall's mini catalog, and then it went away, and now it's back on the online store only item, so it's still available, this Leaf Fall, and I've just run this piece through the edge of my folder, and I'm going to use that as embellishment on top. So this I'm going to put on with dimensionals. So I think maybe 4 will do it. So pop those on. Now you could just do a straight paper ribbon, or you could just use regular old ribbon, right? Whatever you'd want to put in here to kind of seam off where those edges stop and that starts. So you have lots of options there. But I just decided to use a piece of textured, embossed cardstock. Okay, so there's that. So then I said I'm going to do a sentiment, right? I'm going to use my new So Sincere stamp set. And today I'm using the So Thankful for You. And I'm going to stamp it in the Early Espresso, just for a little contrast. Of course, you could do it in the Moody Mauve or any other color you want to do it in, but I'm going to do it in the Early Espresso. So I just have a piece of my vanilla cardstock that I had in my scrap bin. I'll do that, and then I'm just going to cut this out with my paper snips. So we have a lot of sets of dies that coordinate with stamp sets, but it's really not that hard to just trim them out with your scissors. So just come in and just kind of go around your sentiment. You can leave as much of a bubble as you want and just trim it out. And then you're going to have a very unique sentiment tag. You could always layer this up on another color if you wanted to, or another die cut, but I really like the way it stands out on a card when you trim it out. Kind of nice and close. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to use dimensionals to pop up that as well. I think I'll use my mini ones because those are kind of skinny sections. So I'm just going to use a mini dimensional instead. So it hides behind my sentiment there. I'm going to put 3 on here just to really support it. I'm just going to put this, let's see, should we go this way? No, I'm going to go this way. Go this way, and I'm just going to put it right there on that border zone. So there you go, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial, and I hope you're enjoying the fall catalog goodies. And remember, if you order with me in the month of October, use my host code if your order is less than $150. And if it's more than that, don't use the host code. You'll still receive a thank you kit. And even if you're just subscribing with the paper pumpkin, you still get a thank you kit. I appreciate all my sales. And if you have any questions or need help ordering, just reach out with my email. It's listed below. And I would love to know what you think of this project. Alright guys, I hope you have a great day. Do some fun stamping, and I'll stamp again with you real soon.